Hello, today I want to talk to you about kindness. I've got my kindness t-shirt on today. I don't know if it's the wrong way around. Kindness is my kind of thing. So I want to talk about kindness and what it means to people. So I think and I believe that I'm a very kind person. Sometimes I can be a little bit too kind and I can give a lot to people. I help people a lot. I'm nice to people. I don't like to upset people, and I try and help people however I can. So to me, I generally am a kind person. Now, can you be too kind? Well, I've learnt some lessons over the last year with self-development and various things that have happened. And if you feel you're being kind because you don't want to hurt people's feelings, are you always being kind to yourself? And I've realised that by not wanting to hurt other people's feelings, and I don't just mean friends and family, I mean people that aren't even actually that important. So not even friends, just acquaintances, people at work that aren't as close as loved ones and immediate family. Sometimes I've been kinder to them than I've actually been to myself, and then this can create a feeling of resentment, which isn't a kind thing to have. And in a couple of examples, that resentment has built up over several months at a time, even 3 years with one person where I've thought, I'm not quite comfortable with that, but I don't want to upset them. I'm not quite happy about that, but I don't want to rock the boat, don't want to upset them. That was a bit out of order, but it's only me. I don't want to upset them. But all those little things were actually upsetting me. So where was the kindness towards myself by not standing up for something that hurt and didn't sit right with me? I kept my mouth shut because I wanted to be kind to them. So just think about that for a minute. How many times are you kind to other people, but that is then hurting yourself? You're not being kind to yourself first. Have a think about that. So in one example, I'd been really kind to a person. I'm not going to name names, but I've been really kind to her. I'd been really tolerant of things that had really affected my work and my life and my that hindered me really. But to be kind to her, I let things go and let things continue, and I was really flexible. So me trying to be kind, very flexible. I was very understanding, really supporting this person, really helping her to try and build her business, really going out of my way at my inconvenience to help build this person's business because I wanted success for her and I wanted to be kind to her and support her because things weren't easy for her. So I went out of my way and I worked, I did things out in my own time to help this person. And it was never reciprocated. I never got a thank you. I never got an appreciation. So then because of that, it didn't sit right with me, because if people do things for me, I'm like really appreciative. I'm like, oh, thank you. That is so kind of you. You didn't have to do that. But there wasn't any of that. So there was sort of some reflection of thinking, why isn't she like me? Why isn't she seeing that I'm really helpful and I'm being really kind? Why can't she see this? so it started to hurt me and it started to upset me. And then I asked her for something that was very reasonable a long time ago, and it was ignored. So I continued to be kind and I continued to be myself, and I asked again for this reasonable request. I'm not going into detail, but it was a reasonable request that could have easily been done. This was about a month later. I asked again. Ignored. Nothing. No response even. Just saw her a few times. The subject never came up, apart from me asking this reasonable request again. And every time I saw her, it was never discussed face to face, so I was sending her messages. Can you please carry out this request? Nothing. So this went on for 5 months. I was asking this reasonable request for 5 months, and each time I was ignored, it hurt. I was like, why can't you be kind to me when I've been kind to you by just doing this reasonable request that's going to make my life easier? And I have all that time, I'm still continuing to help you. I'm still giving my time and my effort to you. Why can't you just do this one thing? So you could call me a mug or a doormat or whatever. I let this slide for 5 months until one day I snapped. I snapped, and I wasn't kind. I was quite hurtful to her. I was so angry and raging and annoyed that she could not carry out this simple request for me. It was almost like she was flicking the V's. You are not worth me doing this for you. Despite how hard I had tried to be a friend, and a good colleague and a good support to her, I could not see why she couldn't just do this one kind act for me. So not only had it hurt myself because I'd not stood up for myself, I'd let this slide for 5 months, I went into a rage and I turned into a very unkind person, and I said some hurtful, horrible things to her in the heat of the moment, threatening behaviour which is not kind, and it is not me fundamentally, but I felt justified by being that angry because she had pushed me to be unkind. So I was putting the blame on her and I couldn't understand why. So I journaled about it and I've spoken to some people about it, and I now realise that it sits a lot with my core values. So my core value is be kind to people. And so it's frustrating for me when people aren't kind to each other or kind back to me. And that, I believe, is what caused my frustration and my rage towards her. Another example that's been given to me is the fact that we all have an inner child, and at some stage that inner child may have been in a similar situation. So maybe I can't think. I was asked to think of an example, and I can't actually give you one because I couldn't think, but I do need to work on this and journal about it a bit more. So maybe my inner child probably asked for something time and time and time and time and time and time and time again from somebody, and I either never got that or I gave up and ended up, I don't know, throwing a tantrum about it. I really do need to think about that one. So isn't it interesting how that came about? So my inner child was really upset. I was in tears. I absolutely sobbed. First I got angry. Then when I calmed down, I sobbed. And I believe that this person is right. That was my inner child crying because I couldn't believe how cruel and unkind this person could be to her. And my protective adult self was the one that was raging and reacting and trying to make this person do what I needed. So I'm not sure whether you believe in all that stuff, but I just wanted to share it with you because I thought it was really interesting. And it still hurts. It really, really hurts that this person can't do this one reasonable thing for me. But that says a lot about her. And I was emotional and reactive to it, whereas I should have just responded with repeating the reasonable request calmly and professionally. So instead, my usual kind self, I admit, I lost it and reacted instead of responding. So when you're in a situation like that, try and sit back and think, how can I professionally, or if it's a personal life, how can I calmly and productively respond to someone who's been unkind to me rather than react? And that's something that I'll certainly be taking forward with myself. But I need to be kinder to myself by standing up and speaking out when I feel people are being unkind to me or things don't sit with my values. So I need to be kinder to myself, and I don't ever want to be the unkind person that I became when I literally was pushed over the edge, or should I say allowed myself to be pushed over the edge by someone. So I hope that is helpful to anyone who has been in a similar situation, and it would be really helpful to me if you would share either by private message or in the comments anything similar that you've been through. So I hope that you might get something out of this little talk, and thank you for watching, and be kind. Thanks.